All right, guys, we're live. It's the Working Fans Podcast, and I'm the man they call Dave. And I just finished watching the Vince McMahon on Pat McAfee interview. Pretty badass. Tony Khan bought Ring of Honor last night, or at least announced it. So it's been a pretty crazy 24 hours. But before we get into all that shiznit, let's play this video. Are you a fan of pro wrestling, comedy, and combat sports? Then we have the podcast for you because we cover that and much, much more.
Do you like to debate with your friends? Do we have the perfect segment for you? It's the 531, where we take any given subject, break it down to a top 5. From there, we debate it down to 3, and then into that number 1 spot.
If you want to get a hold of us, find us on our social medias. Search Working Fans Podcast on any major social media platform. And if you want to find the podcast, search for us on any major podcast platform, as well as YouTube.
Working Fans Podcast. We put in the work so you don't have to.
All right, guys. So, yeah, I just got done watching Vince McMahon on the Pat McAfee show. So, it's interesting because it was pretty much Vince just being Vince. And, I think a lot of the speculation was that it was going to lead to some kind of match between Vince and Pat, which it still could. There was a segment where it was a part of the interview, rather, where Vince basically told Pat was about to, ask any of the guys on the show. They have questions for Vince. And he said, hey, I want to offer you something. And so basically, Vince offered Pat, would you like to compete at WrestleMania? McAfee, of course, accepted. And Vince just said, I think I can find you a worthy opponent. So that's up in the air. But McAfee is going to wrestle somebody at WrestleMania. He's got a match. The other big wrestling news out of this was Vince McMahon will be the guy who inducts Undertaker in the Hall of Fame. I mean, I don't think he could ask for anything better than that. I mean, and he actually, while talking to McAfee about it, you can tell gets choked up about his long relationship he's had with Mark Calloway. So they've been into the trenches together. And, it's very interesting to see those see those two, because Vince, even in this interview, Pat thanks him a bunch of times. And if you watch Pat McAfee's show, he's constantly thanking people. Randy, I see in the comments there, brother. I've actually been speculating for a while that I think it's going to be Austin Theory. That's my opinion, but we'll see. But yeah, no, it was a good interview. A lot of Vince just imparting his wisdom on things, where he talks about he doesn't believe in negatives or positives. He's just a doer. He doesn't believe in a ceiling as it relates to what he does. He's just looking for that next milestone. A lot of stuff you hear successful people talk about. He told a story that Jim Ross has told before too, back in the old NWA days, how people wanted him dead, which is just amazing to hear Vince McMahon in a live setting talk about the NWA. But Jim Ross, I guess, was in the bathroom, and several of these promoters were talking about, well, we could kill him. And I guess Jim was trying not to be, an accessory to murder. So he's trying to lift his feet up in the stall, and he's squatting on the toilet and trying to hold everything in. But I guess he said Jim Ross waited 5 years after he worked with Vince before he told him that story. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. Vince talked about the fact that, he doesn't believe he believes he's a regular guy who puts his pants on just like everybody else. He talked about around WrestleMania 5, he had an ego for a bit that, he believed, he was special. And then he realized, well, maybe not. Vince, you're just like everybody else. He said making the company a publicly traded company is what made him a better businessman. Vince still gets very excited about all the shows. He talks about what an intelligent person he thinks Brock Lesnar is and how people may not realize he's actually very smart. He jokes around with Pat. At one point, Pat talks about working with Michael Cole and Vince just deadpan. Yeah, he's a horrible person, which obviously Vince was joking around. I'm sure he has a great relationship with Michael Cole because obviously they wouldn't still be working there. But yeah, I would say I'd recommend the interview for anybody, but it's more if you're looking for like wrestling stuff, other than the two things I told you, he's inducted Undertaker in the Hall of Fame, and Pat's going to have a WrestleMania opponent. For the most part, it's really just an insight into Vince and kind of listening to how a billionaire's mind works. It's very interesting. Now, let's talk about the other big news in the last 24 hours. Woo, Tony Khan. Tony Khan bought Ring of Honor. Now, there was some speculation that he might buy the Ring of Honor library and get all that, footage. And now they're going to have the All Out event too, which is really cool. But yeah, no, he bought the whole promotion. So this is very interesting because a lot of the Ring of Honor guys are now at Impact competing as Honor No More. I know PCO has an Impact contract. Deonna Purrazzo, the women's champion for Ring of Honor, is under Impact, but Ring of Honor is now known by AEW. So it's very fascinating. I was hoping they would be doing a streaming with HBO Max, and they still might. I mean, now that they'll have all this video footage and stuff like that, this could be a chance for them to do that. Also, I mean, Ring of Honor has the Honor Club, so they might, use that as a startup streaming service too. Maybe rename it. So there's a lot of potential things they could do. I'm just going to see here. I want to look at this event coming up. They have the Super Card of Honor. That's April 1st. So again, we don't know if there's going to be any TV for Ring of Honor, if they're going to want to carry it, but there is a Super Card of Honor event already happening. And Jonathan Gresham is going to be taking on Bandito. And this is going to be for the Ring of Honor World title. Gresham's the Ring of Honor champion. He's been defending that belt everywhere, but Bandito never lost the belt. He's the linear champion. It's going to be winner take all. And it's kind of interesting because there was those rumors last week that Jonathan Gresham was at Bridgeport, Connecticut for the Dynamite taping in the back. And now we find out that Tony bought AEW. So I kind of wonder what that conversation's about. The Briscoes are taking on a mystery team. I think a lot of us are hoping and got to believe it's FTR. FTR jumped the Briscoes at the end of the last Ring of Honor pay-per-view. How cool would that be just to see the FTR and the Briscoes? I was already thinking they were going to be probably doing that anyway. Deonna Purrazzo is set to defend the women's title. Ring of Honor belt. She holds the AAA women's belt too. Again, should be interesting. Like Randy suggested, maybe Britt Baker. Could be Britt Baker or Thunder Rosa. Whoever wins that title match this weekend. I'm leaning towards Britt, but I mean, hey, if Rosa pulls off the upset, there's no reason to think that it couldn't be Rosa and Purrazzo for the Ring of Honor women's title. Or, I mean, they could go another way too. And you got Jay Cargo as the TBS champ. You got Britt. I mean, they could put it on another woman wrestler, and then you might have a few women's champions. Another guy, Shane Strickland, who's going by Swerve the Realist. He's going to be taking on Alex Zane on this show. Joe Henry has a matchup, and Ninja Mac has a matchup, according to this. But, yeah, a lot of big things coming up here. It's AEW Revolution weekend. There's a live Rampage this Friday. There's a live SmackDown Friday. We're going to find out more about WrestleMania, maybe find out who Pat McAfee's opponent's going to be. It's just a real exciting couple months, I think, right now in wrestling. Cody Rhodes is still out there. We don't know what's going to happen. I heard somebody speculating that maybe he'd come back as the Ring of Honor booker. I don't know about that, but I'm just excited. We'll see where Cody ends up. I'm excited to see what's going to happen with Ring of Honor. Jason in the comments here, I agree, man. What a great time to be a fan. Randy, that promo last night with MJF and Punk was fire. Yeah, man. This is some Jason agrees with me. Yeah, probably not likely that Cody's gonna be going to Ring of Honor. I just don't see that happening. Like, if you're Cody from a business perspective, like if you're not gonna be with AEW, then you probably are going to WWE. Unless there's some other thing that that we're not considering. Because somebody's gonna have to offer him a shit ton of money, I would imagine. And that usually just means one company, right? So, but yeah, I think this is going to be some good shit, man. I'm excited to see this next month, like with WrestleMania, AEW Revolution, and Supercard of Honor. Some good stuff going on here, guys. It's a great time to be a fan. And hey, let's hold on a second. He never left. He's still sure. That's true. Cody is still a shareholder. So, we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. But I got to get out of here, guys. But yeah, let's be back here tomorrow night. I'll be here with AJ tomorrow afternoon, rather, and we're gonna talk more about this stuff with Tony Khan and Ring of Honor, and we're gonna get it. See you tomorrow, guys. Thanks for tuning in, though.